afternoon and thanks for joining us in this edition of 360 Degrees. This week we are talking the youth as they brace up to celebrate the 59th edition of the National Youth Day. This week across the national territory, activities to mark the build-up to the D-Day have been carried out, and it was equally the National Bilingualism Week that rounded up yesterday, Friday, all over the national territory. And today, focusing on the youth, we are looking at the plight of the youth as they go out to celebrate. Are Cameroonian youths really celebrating as proud patriots or as frustrated young people? We are asking the question, beyond the festivities, what are the realities of the Cameroonian youths today in Cameroon, and equally, what should be done to ameliorate the situation of the youth as we celebrate this National Youth Day? You are welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is 360 Degrees, and we are beaming live from the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. And today we have a very young house, a very young panel. You know, it is the week for the youth, and we brought some of the very best, when I say best in terms of what they do, that inspire some young people in different sectors of the economy, be it education-wise, be it political-wise, be it initiatives that are able to boost the socio-economic lives of the young people. And I will go straight to welcome them here in the studio. There are 4 of them. We shall welcome them in no specific order. I will begin from my left, where I have ANONG Jacobs. ANONG Jacob is a teacher, and he is a civil society actor. He has been here once, and that was very passive. Today he's here fully to take part in this topic of today. Jacobs, you are welcome.
Yeah, Hyncenth, thank you. Good afternoon to all, and good afternoon to all the fellow youths on the platform. I think that it is a laudable initiative for you, the program anchor man, and the house to think that the youths should chip in their own contribution to nation building, especially at the eve of an event that youth expect a lot from the head of state and other state officials.
Okay.
I think that our contributions will go a long way to boost and put forth our nation on the track.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And by you, we have Prince TAM YAI. It is equally his first time on the set of 360 Degrees. He is a young political activist, one of those who want to see the young people get involved in politics. Prince, it's a pleasure to have you here.
The pleasure is greatly shared, Chair. I am grateful to be invited once more in this platform. This is my first time to share my own view about the transformation and emancipation of the Cameroonian youth. It is important that if you are not part of the political process, you have no moral right or legal right to complain. You have to be on board. You have to complain while acting, while showing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And by my far right, I have EGOTAH ELIOT. The name EGOTAH is always very problematic to pronounce. ELIOT, you've been here once to share with the Cameroonian youths what you do. Just to remind that you are a youth trainer. You equally the Executive Director of Peace Foundation for Development and Empowerment Services. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hyncenth. It's indeed always a very great pleasure to be with you on the studio. Good afternoon to all the televiewers out there. It's yet another opportunity for us to continue to empower our brothers and sisters out there, to let them know that despite the situation of our country, despite the stakes we find ourselves, yes, we can do it, and we can make the country better.
Of course, we can do it and make the country better. And the last person on the set this afternoon, he is coming far away from Douala to take part in this program. He is also a pedagogue like ANONG Jacobs, and he doubles as a politician and one of those who communicate for the ruling party, the CPDM. KEDIA, Robert, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. Greetings to you. Greetings to my co-panelists. Special greetings to the owner of this beautiful edifice that today we are here present. I thank him for promoting freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Special greetings to all Cameroonian youth, especially those that have done exceptional things the past 2024, that others would follow as example this 2025.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Before we shall dive into our main topic of the day, I would like us to have just a word or two on bilingualism, which was equally celebrated this week. KEDIA, let me begin with you. How will you rate our bilingualism over 60 years after?
Naturally, it has had a great progress, especially at the level of education, where we now see francophones in quote, I don't like using that, sending their children in English school, and we have also seen, sorry for using the crisis, but with the presence of the crisis, many of our children that flew from the Northwest and Southwest and are now in the French-speaking region, we now see that they too are becoming very, very bilingual. This could be influenced by the issue of by the state, the government, or by natural phenomenon. Our brothers, children that left our region here by the problem we have, we see them now being very, very bilingual. At the level of the National Communication, the Bilingualism Commission, they are doing their best, but I was expecting to see youth in that commission. Where they will have flexibility, where if they realize that a state official has published something only maybe in French, there will be a quick reaction for them to be present there to say this is supposed to be in English and in French. And an honest truth I will say is that those that are English speaking will persecute the government, which is made up of majority Francophone, that most of their documents that have been published are only in French, and that of English is not really there. But also the truth we face is that in the Northwest and Southwest, majority of the communiques too are in English, and they don't consider Francophones that are there. So I think there should be a mutual effort by the two regions to promote this bilingualism that some people wanted us to see it as a problem in our country, whereas it is a blessing and an added advantage to our national development.
Okay, thank you so much. Elliot?
Yes, Mr. Hyncenth, I love to say that it's indeed a great asset we have. It really demarcates us from many other countries, many other countries across the globe. And I must say that if you go to most of our state universities, you discover that there is a majority or a greater proportion of our brothers and sisters from the Northwest studying in the French system and vice versa. So with this, we really have a lot of matured youths that have come up to be extremely bilingual, and they're doing a lot of great things out there as far as promoting this asset is concerned. Despite the fact that we have the very complex educational system that we find ourselves in, but you still see the young ones getting into these French systems and really making it extremely well. You still see our French brothers and sisters getting into the Anglo-Saxon system, and they are doing extremely well. So I really want to say it's a great asset to us, but I would also want to give a reality to say it's kind of like in quote, we have more of the youths and those in school, you know, really bilingual, but when you want to go to the government, you discover that most of our ministers, we want to get them talking to us is usually French, but we're hoping for a change.
Okay, thank you so much, Prince. 2017, 2025, the Bilingualism Commission has been in place. Do you feel the impact the way it is supposed to be?
You know, we most often read very decorative policies, programs on papers. But when we get to the ground, you realize that it is not what it is on the paper. But with since the crisis erupted, I believe that the moving into of Anglophones to the Francophone areas, there is some kind of increase in
so the crisis is a kind of plus for bilingualism?
It's a plus actually, because this is what we call vivre ensemble now. Because someone who came in is forced to learn this English, French, in order to integrate. And our French brothers are forced to also get this English in order to be welcoming. And I think naturally things are happening not because of government policies or anything, because it remains in their office.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. Anong?
Yes.
Many say that the bilingualism strikes are centered within the towns. There are some people in some villages that have never heard a word in English or in French. Should we continue like that?
I think that's not a problem. It's but normal. That's normal so that things start in town and go to the suburbs and the peripheries. Even in football matches, before they play football match, they center the ball. Before the players will play it until you get to the nooks and crannies of a football field. But
a football match is different because within the shortest possible time,
the
ball will be at all corners of the field.
It is the same thing. A country is not run from the peripheries.
Okay.
A country is run from the center, then it gets to the nooks and crannies.
Yeah.
That is not even a problem. I have this worry. Sometimes Cameroonians allow the object and follow a shadow. The problem we have is that policies have been made, very good ones, when you compare the bilingualism policy of Cameroon and that of Senegal. I hope you know that Senegal has a bilingualism policy.
Yes, they are becoming
taking it into English. They are becoming bilingual. You have Rwanda, they have a bilingualism policy. They are becoming bilingual. You have Canada. Let's not go out of Africa. We have very excellent bilingualism policies, but the implementation seems a bit lacking. It's 5 years down the road. We expected to see more of what we see. I am speaking like an Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
Something is being done. Something is done. All of us on this platform would acknowledge that since the crisis erupted, the conflict that is going on in the southern Cameroons today has improved, has forced state authorities to speak in both languages.
Okay.
It has forced it down their throat. We hear ministers come out and speak eloquently in English.
Yes.
Before this, they were not doing it. But we say it's not yet enough.
Okay.
Because it is still very limited. Oliver Twist always asked, even when he was ditched, it's not yet enough. We still have communiques coming out first in one language, then secondly it will be translated. Then we have billboards around the country. They have not gone into that. I think the Bilingualism Commission should go down on the field, get to schools, summon the principals, summon directors of institutions, summon private institutions. Why is this in only this language? Get to Sang Malima. I was in Sang Malima recent. Go and find out on billboards. So many billboards, they don't know whether they're in a bilingual country called Cameroon. Here in Yaoundé, where we are, before we come here, just go around and look at the billboards. The billboards should speak of the bilingual nature of our country. I think that is a responsibility of our brother, our father, and uncle, grandfather, Papa Mafani Musonge, to go down. Get the principals. You find schools, the characters of what they write, even sometimes they will write in English bold, in French small. They will write sometimes in French bold, in English very tiny.
Which is supposed to be equitable.
It should be equitable. It should be equitable.
Okay.
Get to the gendarme officers, get to the offices, put something, put a communication board where people can complain. We still have complaints, Mr. Hyncenth, in offices where you will meet an officer behind the roving soft sofa. I will tell you, je ne comprends pas. Je ne comprends pas. C'est vrai qu'on a dit qu'il faut que, mais je vous jure que je ne comprends pas. So those little nitty-gritties are still there. People are still suffering. Policemen will stop you on the way and ask your documents solely in English. When you are addressing, you tell him, please, I don't even understand so well. He will tell that Cameroon is bilingual. Bilingualism means that you should speak French, to majority of them, which we say no, that is not the principle. The principle is those who have been given the opportunity, who have been graced by nature and nation to serve the public, they should be able to address whoever they are serving in the language of the person who is seeking the service. Which means if I am a director, a chief of service, or whosoever, I should be able to attend to all the people who come to seek for service in my office in either French or in English. But I want to round off to say this.
Please, briefly.
Despite the fact that we say that they should improve, something is being done, which we acknowledge. And one of those who think that when you appreciate the little that somebody has done, you encourage that person to do even more. Something is being done, but like Oliver Twist says, we need more.
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen. We shall go and take this element. You know, one of the major problems that we have today with our young people is the consumption of drugs in school. And this week, the Youth Week, a lot of them go astray and they get into the consumption of these substances that end up ruining their lives. And it must interest you to know that we have a police unit that is in charge of the security of schools and universities. And we shall go to meet the senior police superintendent, Mafani Wole, who is the head of that unit. He'll be telling us what the police is doing to be able to curb that phenomenon.
Drug consumption is a reality in Cameroon, in our schools in particular. That's why they created this unit to fight against that phenomenon. So it's a reality. Last 2 weeks, I called someone who came to sell drugs to students in the school. He had about 619 sticks of cannabis that came. So it's a reality. So we are here to fight against that phenomenon. Yeah. There is, because most of the time the jailers come and they roll around schools. So they have their what they call passers. So they introduce drugs to schools through the passers. So we are here to fight. If we know that we have the intelligence that somebody is selling drugs around schools or they are smoking around schools, we have to come fight against them. We arrest them and send them to court. They have codes, they have signals, they have a language that they communicate with. Like you see somebody who has a lace of what they tie shoes with. They have different colors. All these colors are signals, they know what they mean. Someone has, for example, a green lacer means he has drugs with him. So they know how to communicate. They have a language. And we know that language, so that's how we fight against them. Yeah. What we do at the beginning of this school is that we go around and give our contacts to all schools. So I have the contacts of all school authorities too, and they have my contacts. So we communicate on a regular basis. In case of any security issues, they call me, and at times I do rounds, I go and see whether they're okay. If a student is considered as a drug addict, they send them to us. What we do is that we send the student to the hospital first for a drug test. When they do the drug test, they bring them back up to us. We analyze the results of the test. Is the student taking drugs? If he's taking drugs, we have to ensure that the student comes here on daily basis. We ensure the student respects his treatment because they give drug prescriptions that can help him to lose the taste of taking drugs. So we follow that student on daily basis for 1 month. And we ensure at the end of the treatment, he goes back to do the test again for us to ensure that the test, maybe the percent of drug in the system has gone down. If it has not gone down, it means he has not respected his treatment, we see smoking. We have to continue the treatment again with him. So that's what this week. We have posted our collaborators all over. You saw I just came back from the field. So we have taken measures to ensure that they are those students are secured. So we have posted at least two collaborators in all those schools that are calling those their KMS. So I think they are secure for now because we are on standby waiting in case of any security threats, we intervene. So that's what we have done for now. I think they should celebrate with a little bit of moderation. They should not do excesses. It's true their youth day is their feast, but they should go to celebration with a lot of moderation. If they have to consume, they know they are taking, because most of the times it's during this period that they initiate them to take drugs. So they should know what they are drinking and what they are eating. Because there are some students who have bad faith who come to give them drugs to take during this period. So I think they should be wise and know what they are doing during this period.
They should be wise and know what they are doing, fleeing away from drugs. We are getting into our main topic of the day. Elliot, as a young person, what does celebrating Youth Day at this, with this present context mean to you?
Celebrating the Youth Day, it's really, really very devastating today because we just got from the just played program talking to us about how the police, they are trying to combat drugs and many others. It's really very cumbersome because I just want to see some examples before I dive directly into your question. You said that students come to school with Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
It's not Coca-Cola, it's drugs. So when they didn't bring it, I quite remember when I was lecturing in the university 2 years back, I realized that sometimes they come with drugs in their shoes. And you know, the university at some point in time, like SWA, you discover that at the back of the campus, while the lecturer is in front, they are behind doing a lot of drugs. You know, they actually consume it on campus and so many other things. It's really very devastating because we are celebrating, we are planning to celebrate. This is the 59th edition. Yeah. And we are really trying to empower ourselves and educate ourselves much more better to see that we can be able to, you know, better evaluate with respect to Cameroon and its youth. But it's challenging because there is a lot of, first of all, de-orientation. That is, the youths are not orientated properly. Yeah. That's why in the past years, we have organized a lot of programs to see that we start by orientating their mindset. Can we want to, you know, reformat their mindset and bring in something new. Because when we bring in something new, we are therefore very certain that we are bringing up much more matured youth who can be able to take positions in office and be much more responsible. You can't take a drug addict and maybe give him a post of responsibility in the office. You can also take a youth apparently who was expected, who did not love what he or she studied in school, you know, to put in a position that he will not be able to perform better. So there are a lot of things that we are looking at with respect to the realities today on ground. Okay. Yeah.
I'll be coming back to you. Prince, what does it mean being a youth in Cameroon at this moment?
That's a very difficult question if we still have some youth in Cameroon. But we have to face the reality to understand that the Youth Day celebration remains a shadow of its old self. Okay. The values it used to. Okay. The value it used to possess, but now it's just a mere ceremony. Okay. Yes. After all the parade and speeches, what next? Moments like this, we should sit down and reflect, get back on the drawing board, and see where we went wrong. Because when children start misbehaving, you start asking their parents, what happened at the level of the foundation? What happened at home? What is happening? What are the policies? Now we are struggling to put, I just watched that. It's happening now. But the point is that you will get very nice words, nice presentations, good policies, but when it gets to the implementation, it lacks the visibility.
Are you saying that you are not celebrating this youth as a Cameroonian youth?
The idea of celebrate being a youth in Cameroon is just that you're born in Cameroon. But the reflections of being a youth today, those dreams, can we still dream freely? What we are celebrating, we're celebrating the opportunities that we have as youth, celebrating that we are prioritized. But that is not what we are. I don't want to get into navigate more, but I think I'm going to give details later on better.
Okay. Anong, yes. Prince is giving the impression that youths in Cameroon are barely living and surviving.
Of course, he has. I want to think they have not even really put it well. I think the youths in Cameroon have been auctioned.
Hey. When you say auctioned, it means they are hanging somewhere waiting for a buyer?
The youths have been auctioned because when you look at the policies that are in hand, that are there for the formation and the follow of the youth, it's not tying in any way with the core cultural values of the African and Cameroon society that we know of. Okay. You know, discipline, they say, is one of the key tools that you keep a child or keep a people intact. I'm a teacher. I used to tell my students in class sometime in upper six that have they ever asked why a country is keeping police and the military? Have they ever asked the reason? Are they aware that a society can function without them? Why do they? Even to us here, have we even asked ourselves that a country comes up and follow the Western world that says that they should not discipline students with what even the Bible accords, that is spare the rod
and spoil the child.
Spoil the child. We shift that aside. We say ha to Bible. We say ha to what brought us up, even them, what brought the people who have made these policies up. We keep it aside, and that just talk to the child. Only keep talking. Only keep talking. Coordinate. No. The African principle is you discipline. You inflict some pain to some extent to stem out that very hardcore ones. We go and follow objects, and leave we follow shadow and leave the object again. so to say that they will go and say that it's not every child that is well brought up with the use of the cane. It's true, but the majority are well brought up with the use of the cane. I don't know if you have happened to be in any of the dormitory schools that we have in Cameroon. Let me not prioritize the beautiful seat of wisdoms we have in Anglo-Saxon part of Cameroon, Southern Cameroons, Boya, Bamenda, all of this soon. The core is discipline. Once you are off the road, the cane comes into play. Our government schools, which I think all of us schooled there, what was the main thing that kept us intact? Was it the instruction? No, it was a cane. The pain you know you will go through, it keeps you off. The Bible says you spare the rod. I'm saying this other Christian doctrine. You spare the rod, you spoil the child.
Okay.
From the moment they took off this, we found ourselves in this bandwagon where we find ourselves today. I think it would have been coordinated. The whip would have been coordinated. At one moment, people even misinterpreted the message of the Minister of Secondary Education, Mama Nalova Lyonga. She came and reinterpreted and explained again the 1996 laws, the 1993 laws on children upbringing schools and all of that. There was nothing that said they should not discipline a child. People misinterpreted. When a teacher was killed in class, lycée classique de Corbison, the minister shedded tears. I said, where are we going to? If you cannot manage it, let it to another colleague to manage it. You have to judge a situation yourself. If you can face it, okay. If not, she never said in any way that they shouldn't discipline the child the hard way. So this drug issue can be arrested. Why are police coming to arrest you when you do something wrong? And they torture you. Gendarmes torture you, adults. But they say they should not torture a child for doing wrong things. And that is what the children are afraid of. All of us are scared of Papa in the house more than Mama. Why? Why are all children always scared of Mama and Papa than Mama? I mean, in the majority of the cases, although in some homes, it's a reverse. And if you see where they are afraid of Mama, you know that Mama is that police. Mama is that gendarme. And then Papa is that Western, I don't know, civilized, I'm putting in quote, civilized in quote man, who has abandoned all the values of Africa. We need to go back as solution to the values of Africa.
Okay, thank you so much. KEDIA, we are celebrating the 59th edition of the National Youth Day. Should Cameroonian youths be proud celebrants of this day, or young people who are rather crying as to why they are celebrating?
I would say they should be proud if they know the context of the celebration.
Okay.
The Youth Day is a day where youth reflect. Because when they say celebration, people think that it's just to go and drink, go around. No. It's a day us youth, we need to reflect, look at the success of others, and try to see how we can be successful like them. Look at our own weakness and look at the way forward. That is it. And if we all know that that is the objective of that day, then we should celebrate it. First of all, I want to appreciate the government, because in the entire 190-something countries in the world, I think Cameroon is the only country where a day has been put in place to celebrate youth with all its grandeur. I've not seen in any other country. And the best thing a father can give the child is education. So is the government of Cameroon. I will give this example. We have about 340,000 civil servants, but about 180 of them, that is about 55%, are secondary school teachers, because the government wants that youth should have a foundation, a good education.
What about the primary school teachers, where the foundation is supposed to be laid?
You see, the major problem we have is the secondary, because in the primary we believe that is quote-unquote where the parents are there and the children are there, that is more cordial, like maybe the youth in secondary school that are going through the adolescent age, which is even much more of a difficulty than
KEDIA,
those in primary school.
KEDIA,
in short, what I want to say is that
yes,
it's difficult to manage an adolescent than a child of 4 or 5 years. That's
yes,
what
but
I'm
we
saying.
are talking about attention, where that you were raising, laying attention at the secondary level and then neglecting the primary level. Is that not taking the second step before the first?
I have not said they have neglected. I just said where there is a major problem is at the level of secondary, because that's where we have adolescent age, puberty age, where they are being transformed. They start to practice what they see their parents practicing, which become a problem. If they look at a female girl doing prostitution, they want to practice it. That is the age where we have problems.
Let's go to...
and to talk about the various aspects which has to do with drugs and other vice, because when we talk about drugs, it's mostly with the guys, and the other vice which concern the girl, which I will talk about it. Now, I enjoyed the 5-star commissioner that was talking on TV, talk about rehabilitation, taking the children to the hospital, how they observe them. But most importantly, what I was expecting from him is that if you get a child with a drug, and you don't succeed to arrest the person that sold the drug to that child.
I think he made mention of the fact that they are equally tracking.
Because that's the most important thing. How did the child get the drug? We should not only arresting those with cannabis, but we should arrest the source. If we don't go to the source, we have failed. And I just talked about drug is for boys. Permit me to talk about the girl child.
It's not only for girls in our day.
No, majority is boys. Allow me to talk about girls. Allow me to talk about girls.
Yes.
We saw a video of a girl here in Yaoundé. I mean, Douala, we saw it here. A girl of 16 years doing bad fashion with 5 boys at once. The girl, from information I got, I'm not a journalist to know how authentic it is. The girl was dismissed, and the 5 boys are still in school. Is that discipline?
Maybe let me just correct you.
Because all of them were dismissed.
Yes, there were 11 students involved, though 5, like we said, and 1 girl were in the act, but the entire 11 students were dismissed. So maybe
then it's good.
Because
the way they were singing about the girls and the abandoned the boys, as if the girl committed. Because normally I took it as gender-based violence. That why should attention be on the girl when the boys also participating in the hard labor, which we need to actually stop, because it is not time for them to engage in that. When they get married, they will enjoy it.
Thank you so
much. Like some of you here that you are married and you enjoy it, so we need to educate them.
KEDIA, maybe Prince, let me come back to you. I will be coming to you, Elliot. What would you say are the major challenges of young people today in Cameroon?
Thank you, Chair. One of the major problems, challenges that the youth face today is that they don't know their position. First of all, we are youth, we are the future, and the future comes, we are still, they push us, they tell us again that we are the future.
So you were the future.
We're the future, and we are still the future. So we keep being future. So they deprive us of opportunities. And when you look at the rate of unemployment, it's true that we have government initiatives have been allowable at the level of the youth employment plan. And then even 2024, we had the 3-year youth employment plan as well. But these are all, these initiatives are good. But how impactful? What is the reality of it on ground? That is what we faced as youth. Because we get to find situations where corruption, mismanagement prevent youth from accessing these opportunities. The royal youth are left out of this. So you get to see that we have beautiful policies, like I said earlier, on papers. But now the reality on ground is not what it is. Youth now divert their attentions to crimes, like we talk of drugs, because out of frustrations, you start taking drugs, you start going here, you go, you are seeking for a job, employment. For employment, they tell you that you need 5 years experience. How on earth will you have that 5 years experience when you don't have an opportunity to show what you can do first? So that is some of the challenges we have. Yes.
Elliot, you work with young people. I want us to come back to the mentalities of some of these young people. Let's leave drugs aside. The mentalities of young people vis-a-vis the country. what are some of the things you dictate from these young people that maybe you feel that it is because of that mentality that they are being left behind?
Thank you again, Mr. Hyncenth, for this very pertinent question. We are on ground with them, both in universities and the NGO Peace Foundation for Development and Employment Services. I want to say that one of the first things that we discovered is the fact that they don't have self-confidence in themselves.
Okay.
Yes, that's the very first thing. But truth be told, our youths are really very, very, you know, excellent, agile, but you just need somebody to motivate them and give them that self-confidence to say that this is what you're capable of doing, go ahead and do it. Okay. So we have been motivating a lot of them, and we see the very amazing impact that they are capable of producing. That's the first key aspect. Now, the second key aspect that we also realized is that from the base, they were not properly oriented.
Okay.
And so they, for example, you see daddy tells son that I want you to be a medical doctor, and the child maybe is a football player, he has loved football playing, or maybe he has loved music and other things, and then he's forced to go in and study sciences, and then at the end of the day he finds himself in the hospital, maybe doing, or maybe he finds himself out after being trained, and he's not capable of being absorbed because, first of all, it's not something he loved.
He falls under the quack doctor.
Exactly. And then at the end of the day, when he gets in, because maybe the country has become so frustrating, he wants to maybe use this method to say, okay, since I studied this, let me go in and do this. At the end of the day, the whole system becomes porous. Okay. Because people are not properly treated and many other things because of the mistakes from the base, not orientated. Our educational system, we have a system in place whereby the curriculum itself does not match the challenges of today, the world challenges of today. So you see, youths come out from school, you know, they have gotten the best theories in school, and then implementation is not done. You'll be shocked to think that a student from Polytechnic Bamenda who studied computer engineering never saw a computer. But he's a graduate in computer engineering. How do we explain that? How do we really explain that? Because the educational system in place is not the best. And that's why we are going back to see that if the government can really relook at the educational system, causing the, maybe revising the syllables to match the challenges, that is the physical abilities that are needed today, it will really go a long way to help our Cameroonian youth.
Okay. Anong, you are a teacher. How problematic is our educational system to the challenges that our young people are facing today?
Not that much.
Okay.
To be candid, not that much. But I would rather think that this very system has been there. It produced our parents.
Okay.
It has produced us. I don't want to qualify myself under those youths who have failed. I think I'm a successful youth to me and the judgment of many. If we came out of this system that is so much condemned, I mean our educational system, and many have come out of it. My brother here is from it. When you look at me, he's a very successful guy. Okay. Because any guy who looks clean and can articulate and clean, all of us here are successful. Those
anyway, success is relative.
That is a degree. That's some extent of judging success. At least we are not consumed by drugs and all of that.
Yeah.
I will look at the challenges at two levels. One, the individual youth. Two, the society and the state. From the individual youth standpoint, many of our youth are drunk. They're obsessed with what is not ours. We are Africans. We are Cameroonians. We have a way of life. You don't greet an elder like this.
Looking at him on the face.
Or looking into the eyes. You greet an elder looking by the side or look on the hand, not into the eyes. You don't first of all send one hand. You hold like this. But our youth are obsessed with multi-civilization, Eurocentric education, Eurocentric mindset civilization, whatsoever, westernization of society. So they first of all become very rude. Many of us youth become very rude and disrespectful. We don't do the basics that we are supposed to do. We want to live the life of a European youth. We want to live the life of an American youth. An American youth has a standard of living given by their government and by their parents that are very high. You see a youth today of about 20, 25 who has 30,000 francs is putting something Brazilian or Italian on the hair. You have a boy who has a iPhone of 150,000 francs. He has saved money for years to get that. He lacks the mindset that that life you are going to live is somebody's own. We are Africans. Get to do realistic things that will improve you and empower you to stand somewhere. First of all, they don't even try to empower their own selves. That is where I blame the youth individually. Ask a youth what happened yesterday in Cameroon. What did they get on Canal or TV or whatsoever? They'll tell you nothing. But they'll tell you about a Z, something of football, Cristiano, whatsoever, who did this and all of that. Those are at the level of individual, at the individual level where they have useless themselves. I used to tell my students sometimes, you own phones. That phone is about 150, 200,000 francs. Are you aware that that is a capital to start a business that can give you 10,000 francs a day? A day. But you take that phone, that and money and buy a phone or a shoe for 90,000 francs. I'm a civil servant, I'm a worker, I have jobs, things I do. I've never bought a shoe for 50,000 francs for myself. Honestly. It's orientation. It has to go to what my brother talked about. Poor orientation. Poor orientation. First, you need self-orientation. Then secondly, the orientation from parents. On the other level now, the state and society. Those who set the policies that govern our nation, to some extent, we overestimated our evolution drive. We have absorbed almost every rubbish that comes from the West in the name of civilization. One is this excess child right, human right, so much. Europe was not built on human rights. Go and read the history. America was not built on human rights. It was built on dictatorship. Somebody set the pace and said, we are going this direction.
And people followed.
And people followed it. And it was constructed. When it was constructed,
try to learn, please.
Then they came now to stabilize things with what? With the democracies and the rights and the rights and the rights. We need someone who can say, this is the road. And everybody told the road. We just pray it should be a good orientation, good view. So that everybody oriented, even the youth, what they watch, what we watch on television. How did the drugs come into this country? We ended with cannabis and all of that. What about the foreign ones? How do they get into this country?
Thank you.
We have seaports, we have airports and all of that. Who are those working there? The youth? They are elders. Secondly, the youth are kept out for those who are well behaved. They are kept out, they are neglected, they are marginalized, they are discriminated upon by those in power who refused to give space for youth. How many ministers do we have in our country with a youth? None. There is no youth as a minister. But we have neighboring countries that we can count the ministers who are equal to a football team.
23 years.
Many of these people who are managing the youth today went there before your age now, before you are not up to 45, but they went there before 30. Many of them were 22, 23, 23. They were already in position of managing power. There is a little book I'm writing which will be published soon.
Try to learn, please.
What's that colonization? What's that colonization? Listen what? Some of our parents have become so greedy that to them no youth should even strive. Mr. Kezia, which government school in Cameroon, Lycée Bilingue, Lycée this, has a youth as principal as head? Is it that all the youths are that useless? All are fathers of 50, 60, 48, 49, 50, 70, 60.
Thank you.
So we are saying that those who are there should pick the few youths who are making a strive to go on the right track, to integrate them so that they will even continue with the baton to hold this nation intact.
Thank you so much. KEDIA,
yes,
are the young people asking so much from the government?
We are in democracy and we have a government, and it's a right for us to ask more from our government. As it is said, human one is never enough. We always want more. So, but I like to always be honest to appreciate what the government has done before asking them to do more. I will see talk about our educational system, because when we say educational system, people look at it maybe as classroom. But really, I think our educational system has a problem. The issue of orientation, discipline, and moral values. We have a problem at parental education. Many parents today have failed. Many parents today, especially some of our mothers, fail to observe their daughters when they're already going astray with what they are doing. So I think our parents should really come back to that aspect of discipline. I understand Minister Nalova Lyonga, but the issue is that when you flog somebody's child, the parent will come with a convocation. It becomes a problem to actually handle. And
we have had cases where parents come,
please,
to be honest, one that they should flog.
Okay.
Of course.
Many
and
parents.
Secondly, talking about the education proper, I really think for us not to have the problem of unemployment or underemployment, I still think the government is supposed to focus on vocational training and technical education. I have no disrespect for those studying literature. I have no disrespect for those studying history. But with advanced level, what will you do? Whereas those in technical school that did their building, electricity and the rest, by the time they have their advanced level, they can already make something for themselves. So I consider that as an aspect. And to talk about employment, which I believe when I will say now, most of my co-panelists might disagree with me, but I really think the problem we have here, we have problem of underemployment than the problem of employment. Because when I see degree holders, master's degree doing call box, doing bike riding, yes, it's economic activity. Yes, it's giving the money, it's employment, but that employment is underemployed, which I think the government is supposed to do a lot on that. And to conclude, I just want to tell Cameroonian youth that we may criticize our government or asking them to do more, but the question I always ask myself, how come Nigeria, with a population of more than 200 million, the highest place where you see Nigerian out of Nigeria is Cameroon, about 4 million. Why are they coming here? Why is it that in Cameroon is one of the highest countries in Africa that has foreigners from Central Africa, Republic, Chad, Niger, Senegal, Mali? They are coming to Cameroon for greener pasture. I saw a video, please permit me, of a guy that got his visa from Niger to come to Cameroon, and there was a total celebration, and the family was blessing him that he's coming to Cameroon to hustle. This makes me to ask myself, question why majority of our cafeterias in Douala and Yaoundé is managed by Senegalese. But why will our own lovely sisters not really engage in that? And to conclude, I just want to talk about some of us going to the diaspora. Yes, they have better dreams, yes. But the question I always ask myself, I'm a civil servant too, like my co-panelists here. All of us, we have that advantage to go and borrow 5 million in a bank and disappear, and maybe the money will still be passing. But the question is, that 5 million, there are many businesses that foreigners come and invest in our country. Why the running of the diaspora and painting the government black way? I think that there are many things that we can actually do as youth.
Thank you so much.
Now, I'm here to educate. That's why I should be honest to tell you that this is what they can do with the money they are using to go abroad. I'm not saying that the government is perfect.
Thank you.
They have done their own. We need more.
Thank you
but
so
there are
much,
many
KEDIA.
things as us youth we can do. We are here to educate ourselves as youth and share out opportunities or things we can do, and not only to criticize.
Yes, he talked of opportunities. Gentlemen, you will permit, will take the Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, who will be enumerating some of these opportunities as far as the social and economic situation of the Cameroonian youths are concerned.
You know, in last year, by the end of the year, we organized a large consultation of young people on the revision of the national youth policy, and they expressed their preoccupation, and the major preoccupation concerned their socio-economic integration. And in that perspective, the government has put in place many initiatives improving this socio-economic integration. And you have heard about the 3-year special youth plan, and now the head of state has prescribed the 3-year integrated substitution plan which is another important part that benefit to young people. And in the different ministerial departments, there are some initiatives that benefit to young people for their socio-economic integration. You have heard in his speech those great construction sites in the domain of mine, industries, and so on. They benefit to young people. So what we ask now as family doctor of young people, Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, to ask young people to go look for information, right information. Go to the National Youth Observatory, which is on digital platform, www.ongcameroon.cm. Call on the free toll call, that's 1505, or go in our multipurpose youth empowerment centers to go there and have the right information, because these are there is a center, a multiple youth empowerment center per council, and sometimes in villages and quarters. So they should go there, have the right accompaniment, right orientation, because the major preoccupation now is that much of the young people should create their own businesses. That's entrepreneurship. That's we are trying to give them moral, civic, and entrepreneurial rearmament to inculcate in each young Cameroonian the fighting spirit of our indomitable lion, so that each young Cameroonian should be an indomitable lion in his domain of activity or competence to succeed. And the success stories are there, the models are there. They should be also connected to them by the Youth Connect Cameroon initiative platform that exists to inspire them to connect to those opportunities. So I think everything is put in place now. Is the responsibility of young people to engage themselves, to look for right information. And within the theme of this celebration, the head of state called them one more for their maturity, for their responsibility to restore peace and security in some part of our country, because these are the conditions for the economic growth, and to engage themselves also in the democratic process, so that we can have a fair election in peace and security. These are civic engagement that young people should have. When they are enrolled in those, I cannot tell them they are in good health because they are ill. So we have all those structures put in place by the minister, our multi-purpose youth empowerment centers, to take care of them, because they are vulnerable young people. But also we have that ProNegre must put in place in schools, universities, in all those milieus, to accompany them. So I ask for collaborators and partners to engage themselves for the accompaniment of those young people. We have elaborated a guide on the radicalization and fight against violent extremism. Those tools can be used by the different actors to de-radicalize and accompany those young people enrolled in those consumption and other psychotropic substances.
Welcome back. That was the Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Monuna Fosso, trying to tell us some of the opportunities made available for young people. And just to indicate that this 59th edition of the Youth Day is celebrated under the theme Youth, Majority and Responsibility for the Consolidation of Peace, Security, Economic Growth, and Democratic Process. We have barely 5 minutes to go, gentlemen. Elliot, maybe I'll give you the first 1 minute. Youth and new technologies. Are we exploiting enough? Or what should our young people do with the new technology in place?
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Hyncenth. I want to I think you have actually come into my field, technology, and I want to say that the youths today are mismanaging technology.
Okay.
Most of our youths today spend more than 20 hours out of 24 hours we have in a day on TikTok, on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Instagram, and other things. Okay. Instead of utilizing the YouTube programs that can help them, you know, to enhance their skills and many other things, they focus on very useless things. Fun time, laughing around, making noise, disturbing the whole place, even right in class on campus. Okay. It's crazy, but I think that technology is very, very essential for us in this our generation. But the issue is the youth are not using it rightly. Okay. They have very excellent phones that can cause them, you know, to learn a whole lot of, you know, amazing skills that can cause some of them to be very productive in the country. But the problem is youth have decided to use their phones for very terrible things. Okay. How to, that is on drugs, sexual activities, and many other things, which is truly not helping them today.
Okay, in less than 10 seconds, what should they focus on?
I would say that a youth should be able to identify his or her area that he or she wants to progress, that he or she wants to gain skills. Go over the internet and, over YouTube programs, search for those programs. They are available. You know, you can actually have, you know, excellent training from a YouTube program, which a classroom may not even give you. Okay. So they should focus on those skills, gain them, implement them, and let's make the difference in this nation.
Okay, thank you. Prince, we are in an electoral year. What should be the attitudes of the young people towards the elections that is coming?
Thank you so much. I think this is a time that we have to get back on board. Okay. The young people should know that it is our future. Okay. We have to fix it. We have to get on board. It will not be served on a platter of gold. We have to get it. If they all have refused to go, let us use what we can to take them out and take our rightful positions.
When you say what we can, what do you mean by what we can?
What we can means that the available means we should register. Okay. Youth should go, even though we have difficulties with with our ID cards. Yes. I've seen where they have talked. We have heard that means and available for double nationality and all that. I begin to think about people like from my village, Boom, where I'm coming from. How will they have access to this? Okay. The 48 hours ID card production. What about those in the rural areas? We should think about this, because if we really want a youth political participation, we should look into the situation of ID cards. Okay. Because that is going to facilitate the massive registration.
Okay. Anong?
Yes.
In less than 1 minute, please. We shall be celebrating on Tuesday. Yes. What should policy makers be reflecting on as far as the youth are concerned?
Create an enabling environment for the youth. Okay. Of recent in Yaoundé, we have youths. They are driving them all from the streets with no provision for where they have to go to, and it's creating a lot of conflicts and all of that. Okay. So youth should remain responsible. Take your future into your hands. Okay. This is an electoral year. Go register and get ready to go and vote. Remain responsible and be responsible.
Thank you so much. KEDIA, in less than 10 seconds, please. Your last word.
No discrimination.
Yes, I accept.
All right, we are saying that the youth should follow the theme of this year, which talked about good education, health for good peace, security, and economic development. To conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to tell the Minister of Secondary Education, Manalova Lyonga, I am a teacher. The children are becoming very violent. I have the right to self-defense, and all my colleagues have the right to self-defense. If they become violent, we'll box them as self-defense. It's too much.
Okay. Review the policies.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. If you miss out on anything, the rebroadcast of this program will be on Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. And of course, we shall be here on Monday with a special Youth Day program that will be starting at 6:30 p.m. And till we meet again next Saturday, celebrate the Youth Day responsibly. Bye-bye.